Hey everybody, 8-Bit Josh here, and welcome back to another episode of Meridian Springs. And we have a new habitat for you today. And in case you, for some reason, didn't see the thumbnail, we're working on a hippo habitat. And I chose the hippo because in Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel, there is a machine called the Wide Maw, which is a hippo-like machine. As you may know, we've been picking the animals for our zoo if they have like a counterpart in the Horizon series. Even though this zoo started as a Horizon Zero Dawn themed zoo, since I've played through Forbidden West, I've definitely have been taking inspiration from that as well, especially with the animals we choose, because Horizon Forbidden West has a lot of new machines, and many of them are based off of real life animals, like for instance the kangaroo. We put those in. That the machine is called the Leap Lasher. But yeah, so went with the hippos for the Wide Maws. I did, if you noticed at the beginning, I kind of talked over it, but I did do an underwater tunnel for this habitat, and I've been debating for a while with this zoo if, you know, I wanted to do a underwater tunnel, because it seemed like, as far as like the Horizon series goes, I guess a little, I don't know, maybe too advanced. I mean, obviously there's very advanced technology in that universe, but then I was like, you know what? This isn't supposed to be like a zoo in the Horizon world. It's just supposed to be a Horizon themed or inspired zoo. So yeah, rather than kind of thinking of it as trying to be in the Horizon world, then I was like, okay, well then yeah, an underwater tunnel would make sense. It's kind of like, you know, if Disney or Universal Studios were to make a zoo, it would probably be pretty high themed. Actually, I think, doesn't Disney have like a zoo? They have Animal Kingdom, right? I don't know if that, I've never been there, but I think they have animals, right? It's kind of like a zoo. But anyway, I digress. I wanted to do something a little bit different, just kind of with the scenery of this habitat. So I made this like little half circle with like these like little tarp covers over the top. I actually take this, actually it's more like a quarter circle, but I double it and turn it into a half circle. And I don't know, I just thought it seemed like something new and interesting that we haven't really done with this zoo or any of the habitats so far. And I think it turned out pretty cool. I actually have been really enjoying using these those like tarps. I forget what the actual name of them are, but they're from the African theme part of the base game. And if you just change, they have two color options, and if you change them to the same color, it just looks really nice. But yeah, so there you can see I copied it, placed it around on the other side, and then I'm just taking these like little tarps here, and so that they go all the way across. But that's kind of like the little entrance to the water for the hippos there. And then this whole like little back area, that's like where the hippos will live. Yeah, one thing about this habitat is I forgot hippos actually require like a lot of land space, even though like I feel like they're mostly water animals. Like they spend most of their time in the water. In this game, they actually require almost as much land as they do water. So this one, the land space they have here is definitely under what they like, but you know, we turned animal welfare off for this zoo, so it doesn't really matter. They're still super happy. But here I'm working on the underwater tunnel. As you can see, the little glass domes, it just worked out. I've used these my previous 2 zoos, I did underwater tunnels, and in Wildlife World, which was my first Planet Zoo, I used these this little half dome thing, which is just a glass canopy, but it just so happens that it is like a perfect width for just the 4-meter path, the smallest size path you can make. So I tend to use it. I think in Aurora Zoo, I definitely didn't use those. I think I used like a square, something that was square. But here I'm just kind of doing a little bit of decorating and adding details. When you make underwater tunnels like this, sometimes the curb on the path, can look a little wonky because you're kind of, I don't want to say you're breaking the game, but you're using the paths in a way that was not intended, so they don't always look super pretty. I could have fixed it up if I had took the water out and placed the paths back down and smoothed out the terrain a little bit, but since I used the temple block pieces to cover up, you can't even tell anyway. And then of course, if you're going to do an underwater tunnel, you've got to have, well, I guess you don't have to have a door, but I decided to put doors in here just to add a little extra little detail. Although I'm just now realizing I actually never detailed the actual underground part, like the stairs that walk down to the tunnel. So I'll have to do that at some point. Yeah, so they're just kind of copying the doors. I thought it looked cool. Kind of matches with the theme a little bit, but yeah, that's the underwater tunnel. And then of course, have to detail the underwater part as well. Lots of these little faux rocks. I love using these. I've used them all throughout the zoo. Just adds a nice little bit of detail. And then the hydrangea plants and I forget what they're all called, but I definitely have been using those quite a bit as well. They just really adds tons of extra detail. The tedious part, right here, I was adding this underwater grass, and man, the biggest size of that is really small. So I placed, I don't know how many multiple thousands of these underwater, because I did not only this area around the tunnel, but the part where the terrain slopes back up towards the habitat. So it was a lot to place, but I got it all done, so it's all good. Yeah, here's just a little bit. I wanted the 4x4 ride here to be able to see into the habitat as well. So there's a nice little section there where if anybody's on the ride, they'll drive right by the habitat and they might see some hippos. And then I didn't really do anything too super crazy, at least I don't think, with the kind of border of the habitat here. I just wanted to kind of make something out of the temple block pieces to make an actual make the actual habitat space. And like I said, that back area, you can see it's not huge. It's not a ton of space. If I was playing this zoo with animal welfare on, the hippos would be a little bit unhappy with it, but we don't have to worry about that, like I said. Also building, hippos do have a shelter requirement, so just building again with these little canopy pieces, building a nice little covered area for them to come and sleep, get out of the sun if they want to, because it gets really hot, especially in the desert. And hippos, they're gigantic animals, so I imagine they get hot pretty quickly. Yeah, it was fun. I was trying to think, all right, what are some other animals in the Horizon, or machines in the Horizon world that have a counterpart animal in real life? The hippo seemed to work. I think I've done the hippos in all of my zoos so far too. We could also do the pygmy hippos around here as well if we wanted to. One of the things here is adding the little mud pit and then kind of adjusting the terrain around it so it just looks like it's part of the terrain, which is one of my favorite things to do, because and you just place it like on top of the ground. It just looks a little out of place. I like making it look like a natural part of the land. Also adding the I like to call this the elephant car wash, just because it's a giant piece. But I didn't want the just the metal frame exposed, so using the temple block pieces again to kind of cover it up and make it fit a little bit more with the habitat. But I think that just about does it for this time lapse. So let's go ahead and jump into the real-time gameplay and check out the completed hippo habitat. All right, here is the completed hippo habitat. You can see I did a lot of stuff above the water as well, but let's dive down. Here's the underwater area. You can see I added lots of details, some stuff that wasn't in the time lapse, like adding the plants here that are kind of like growing up along the side, just because I think it looks a little bit better than just kind of the bare terrain. Added some more like regular rocks, and then here's all of that grass I was telling you about that I added in there. Definitely took a good amount of time, but I think it turned out really good. And then added lots of these plants because I forget what these are called too. What are they called? Because I forget. Water. I can't even say that. I don't even know how you say that. But I feel like whenever I've seen like hippos in real life, they're always just kind of like their heads are just like kind of poking out of these like little plants. I don't even know if it's the same kind of plants, but that's what it reminded me of. So I just put these all along the water surface here because I just thought it added a nice little bit of detail. Another thing I did, because our boundary river is right here, is I kind of wanted to make it look like the river water is feeding the habitat. So that's like where the water from the habitat came from. Added some rapid effects here just to somewhat give it the illusion that the water is flowing this way. I might, I could probably add some more of those rapid effects throughout here. Not like a bunch of them, but just maybe like a handful, just to give the illusion that the water is sort of flowing in this direction. But I think it turned out pretty good. Here's the like I said, the actual land area, not gigantic, but like I said, because we have animal welfare turned off, the hippos are just as happy as they could be. Here's the enrichment mud pit. I just think it looks a lot better when you kind of take the terrain and kind of bring it up around the edge. Just kind of makes it look more like it's actually part of the ground. And seeing their food here now, I realized I didn't give them grade 3 food quality. So let's do that. So that next time they get fed, they'll have some really super delicious food. And then the other thing here is the above water viewing area for the guests. A nice little raised platform. Kind of took the same idea that I used over here and used the same like little canopy here for the guests. I kind of like the way it sort of goes out over the water a little bit. And then, yeah, I just think it's a really cool like little space. I've been using these wood planks to cover up the path a lot because I just think it looks a lot better. The only thing, and you guys can tell me in the comments, is I don't have like any kind of like real barrier right here. So the guests could, if they're not paying attention, they might trip over that and be like, whoa, and then go down in the water. That wouldn't be good. The hippos would be mighty upset with that. So I don't know if I should add some sort of like railing right here, maybe. I don't know. I could do like maybe something simple like one of these things, which is still not really that high up. So I don't know if this would be enough, like in real life, that there'd be enough like safety there. It might not. I don't know. It might not be enough. But I guess we can leave it there. If we take, actually, I still have our angry archer friend over here. If I bring him over. So we have the angry archer right here. That's about waist high. I think that's probably actually pretty good right there. Waist high looks pretty good, if you ask me. Yeah, we zoom out and you can see. So there's the whole habitat. I haven't done this, so this I kind of changed where the path comes back up, because as you can see, kind of where the terrain is, that's where they both kind of popped up from there. But I wanted to keep it fairly contained, so they both have like this little spot where they kind of turn direction and come up this way. What I want to do for this area is kind of make it look like maybe like a small little village, kind of take more of like the idea of this building and like this, and kind of just make it look just like a small little, like I said, small little village. So just probably random buildings that won't actually be functional, but we can use like shops and some of the like the shop counters, so that there's actually stuff for the guests to do. And you know, we could maybe even put another habitat over here. I did mention in the time lapse, you know, we could do like the pygmy hippo. They don't require a super huge habitat, so we could, you know, possibly make something over here for them. There's other smaller animals too that don't require humongous habitats that could probably fit over here. So that's just kind of my thoughts with that. Of course, you can always let me know your suggestions in the comments below, because I always do I like to hear them. Oh, also just realized I didn't decorate the keeper hut there. So I didn't mention this staff area here that I originally built for the grizzly bears, which is under this mountain. I expanded them to also manage the giant anteater, which he's in a box for some reason. Not sure why. And now they also manage the hippos. I did add a couple more keepers and I think another janitor, because I was debating, like, I don't know where I'm gonna put the hippo habitat here. I wasn't sure where I wanted the staff area to be, and it just seemed to make the most sense to use this one. I thought of maybe using that, but that seemed like a long walk for them to have to come walk all the way around here, and then, you know, I would have had to like have the barrier gate somewhere over here or whatever. So I don't know, this just seemed like that's not that big of a distance for them to walk. And because I added additional staff and added the small keeper hut here, I think that'll ensure that, you know, all of our animals here are nicely taken care of, and the staff aren't like running wild to try and take care of all of the animals. The other thing I might do is I might add some more plant coverage here, and I don't know, maybe like another like little gate or something, again, just to kind of separate the staff, because this is all just a backstage area. I did put a staff path here so that so guests can't walk back there, but I kind of like what I did over here, where I added this little gate, which obviously is not functional. The staff just walk right through it, but I think it's a nice way to separate the backstage area from the guest view. And then here's the ride. So the guests that are on this, they actually will get to see this part of the habitat as well. And then as it goes on, they can see some of the water. So, you know, if there's like hippos over here kind of treading the water, they might get to see that. I think that'll be a nice little view. So yeah, there we go. There's our hippo habitat, or wide maw habitat if that's what you want to call them. But yeah, that's this episode. So as always, be sure to leave your comment suggestions and feedback down below. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, I'm going to add the playlist, the top right corner of the video. Make sure to click that and catch up on any episodes you've missed. But with that, I'm 8-Bit Josh, and thanks for watching. See ya.